Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the MLG.TV Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Over the last 3 months, top teams from around the world have been competing for a spot here at the $75,000 MLG CEVO Season 7 LAN Finals. To tell us more about the tournament format, let's send it up to our casters, Helium and Wanders.
Thank you, Chris. I'm so glad to be back here for the Season 7 Pro League Finals. Honors and I were here for Season 6, where we just had the North American teams, but now we're bringing in, well, one of the best, which includes Cloud9, but also 3 top-notch European teams.
Yeah, the pressure is really going to be on at this line. It's going to be a serious competition, and because a few spots have freed up, we've got some more NA competition here, but it's just going to be still as hard for them as the European teams are going to add a lot of flavor that we might not be used to tasting in North America.
Definitely. All right, so let's take a look at the way the tournament is going to be structured. That's what you here in the audience, and of course those online want to know. So taking a look at the groups, Group A, we got Cloud9, CLG, Mousesports, Liquid. Group B with Navi, Luminosity, VP, and Tempo Storm.
Yeah, so throughout this tournament, it's going to be best of threes all the way up until the final. There's going to be a best of 5 final. And so in the spirit of perfect competition in CS, no one likes best of 1, so we're not going to have any of that. It's going to be best of 3s all the way through.
Yeah, got to earn it here. No easy pass right to the final. So let's take a look at what everyone is playing for, the prize money. So first and second, a big 30 grand, followed by 15 for second place, and you'll notice some asterisks. If you get first or second, you are invited right back for Season 8 here coming up in November, right here at the MLG Arena. And then third and fourth, yeah, still quality, 10 grand. Fifth and sixth taking home 5. So there are 2 teams that will leave with nothing. So
yeah, so moving on to the schedule, we're going to be playing 4 matches today. There's going to be 2 from each group up here on the main stage, and then 2 more on the alternate stream on mlg.tv/playcevo2. And we're going to kick it off with Luminosity versus Navi at 5 p.m. and then Cloud9 versus CLG at 7:30.
It's going to be awesome games today. Saturday and Sunday, though, keep in mind they do start a lot earlier, 9:45 a.m. So I know it's a Friday night. Take it a little easy, though, because there's some great Counter-Strike coming up this weekend.
And now the NA standings are going to be what we're going to look at next. Now we have Cloud9 who are here today. They've got 10 wins, not a single loss, and these were best of 2s all the way through the season. They've only tied twice, and they are leading with a total of 22 points over our second place contenders, Luminosity, who are also here. 6 wins, no losses, 2 less wins than Team Liquid, but also because they had no losses, have more points. Anything interesting beyond that?
Well, we had to dig a bit deeper in NA for the LAN team since unfortunately Fnatic was unable to accept their invite, Olaf with the ear surgery, Envious, you know, kind of tearing apart at the seams there, and Nip for their own reasons, whatever they may be, probably just looking forward towards ESL Cologne. But that means Tempo Storm and CLG get a shot, and that's just fantastic for the North American scene.
Yeah.
I mean, people probably honestly aren't expecting a lot from them, but they could show up, deliver, and change everybody's opinion.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Now let's take a look at the EU standings, where we have some of the people who will be playing here today. Obviously, NIP not in attendance, but Virtus Pro, Mousesports will also be here. That's some fresh blood. I know me and you specifically have casted a lot of the European matches and really love watching Mousesports play. I think there's a lot of upset potential in that team.
Definitely.
Yeah, so.
I already saw them at Gfinity. They upset VP twice, so there's potential to find that matchup here again, depending on how the first couple matches go. But some phenomenal players, and of course, Navi coming in, that 4th team invited since I think they were actually coming in for Envious. So they did not do very well online, as you can see. You know, 5-3-3 in those best of 2s. They didn't make it, but they've got a second chance, and they've really shown in the last couple weeks how good of a team they can be. I believe Thorn here has got them at number 3 overall in the world, so could be their tournament.
Yeah, that's huge. And so we gotta have a shout out for Vulcan.
Yeah.
You're gonna register at Vulcan. They'll match your deposit dollar for dollar, and we got some picks as well to talk about.
Yeah, and when you sign up, make sure to use that promo code CEVO, and I believe we're going with your picks first. So let's run down your 8-man roster, one of them being a shot caller. They will earn more points for you.
Yeah, I rarely disagree with Helium, so we might see some similar picks here on the board, but my 2 favorites for this tournament were Navi and Cloud9, so I've got 4 players across from them. Guardian's obviously my shot caller. It was also the most expensive of my picks. Cutler, kind of that sleeper pick in terms of how much he costs, but has always been a rock for CLG. Skadoodle is the opper that I think will have the most exciting matches versus
in
Guardian.
the conversation for best in the world at opping, so
Absolutely.
good pick to have.
And then C's, you know, that solo side anchor that's been so good. And the other pick that's interesting for me is Dennis. He was kind of a little bit cheaper, and you know, I had to pick him over Nex, but he's always really, really good.
All right, quickly, we'll run through my picks as well. Like Blonder said, we don't disagree too often. I've got Guardian as well, and he's also my shot caller over for VP, as I expect him to also go far through the tournament. I've taken Neo, Bialy over to Mouse Sports. I did take Nex, as he's just an absolutely ridiculous player, and Seized also from Na'Vi. I think he's the glue that can hold that team together. He's insane. His position and the way he just plays the game, very, very smart. And then I've got 3 Cloud9 players.
Fanboy confirmed?
Yeah, a little biased maybe. I don't know. I was sitting next to Stunna. Every time I said a name when I was making this roster that wasn't on Cloud9, he just looked at me. I was like, oh, okay. And he also told me that Sean Garris has come to play. So watch out for the IGL. Not really known for his frags, but could have a big performance at this LAN.
Yeah.
And with that, we will be throwing it down. Some other pretty faces here in the building on the analyst desk. We've got Sir Scoots, Hiko, and Thorin, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. I am Sir Scoots. I am joined by always my partner in crime here on the analyst desk, Thorin in the end, and we've got a new angel joining us, Spencer Martin. Hiko, how are you, buddy?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Nice to see you. Obviously, you're an active pro player. You would probably rather be playing, and your team is obviously not here. You will be playing next week at the offline qualifier for the major. But in the meantime, we're going to steal you this weekend and pick your brain. How you guys doing so far?
I mean, he was probably hoping one of Na'Vi didn't turn up so he could get some active playtime again, you know, or LAN.
Yeah.
It's hard to qualify for those things.
That is true.
I speak Russian now, so why not, right?
So let's get right into it. Obviously, Helium and Launders kind of set up all the pregame stuff that we often do, which is great. So we know how they got here. We know how much they're going to make. Let's go right into the group. So taking a look at Group A. Thorin, first off, walk people through what GSL group play means, and then kind of walk us through the teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a term from a StarCraft tournament, which essentially says you've got a group stage, but it's not round robin. It's actually a double elimination bracket. So simplest way to remember and keep track of things. Once a team wins 2 best-of-3s, they're through to the playoffs. Once they lose 2, they're out. So until someone's got 2 in one of the columns, the tournament's not over, okay? So first matchup is going to be Cloud9 CLG. Cloud9, obviously the premier North American team, one of the best teams in the world at the moment. I've got them number 5 in the world rankings, 3 finals in a row. CLG, considered by some, debatable, maybe the second best North American team, but we have to note they're missing the in-game leader, FNS, and they've got Sanks, who plays for this like little-known sort of homemade hobbyist team who's trying to make it. They haven't got any other notable players. Sanks is pretty much the best one there. And then we've got Mouse Sports versus Liquid. Mouse Sports, famously, it's kind of the core of that Penta team that made the round of 8 of that major DreamHack Winter 2014, where they had those awesome analysts. They're anchored by Gob B, a legendary 1.6 player, and very tactical team, had a top 4 at Gfinity Summer Masters 1. They're going up against Liquid. Liquid's also a team vying to try and be like second best NA team. They've had their problems recently, ESWC, and so they've got a lot to prove here.
All right, your thoughts on Group A before and then I'm going to have you walk us through Group 3. But this is giving us some ideas on Group A. What's your thoughts of who's coming out of that one?
So as we talked about earlier, Cloud9 definitely is like, they're in the position to play better. They don't have the underdog kind of mentality anymore. They are like the best team other than Mouse Sports in the group right now. So that underdog mentality where they have to come and they have to prove themselves, it's taken to an even higher level, because now they're considered as one of the best teams in the group and they should move on. So if they don't, it's going to be really upsetting for everybody. And then on the other end of things, I think Mouse Sports should be the second team to come out. I think Cloud9 and Mouse Sports are the top 2 there.
Okay. And then I'm going to have you walk us through Group B. I'll come back to you and get you Group A and B from you. Let's get everyone caught up on B.
So Group B, the first matchup we have is Luminosity versus Na'Vi. Luminosity is, they've had a pretty stable roster for the most part. They just replaced one of their players for Devilwalk now. So they have 2 European players mixed with 3 Americans. So they have like a weird dynamic where they're trying to adopt some European kind of play with their American kind of roots. So I'm interested to see what they do. They have to prove. And then obviously Na'Vi needs no introduction. They're the highest ranked team on Thorin's top 10 team here. I definitely think Na'Vi will make it out of group, definitely. And then on the other hand, we have Virtus Pro versus Tempestorm. Virtus Pro, again, they need no introduction. Everybody knows their players. Neo, Pasha, the fan favorites. Tempestorm, Tempestorm is one of those teams where they just kind of revamped their whole roster. They have Automatic, who used to be on my team, Nylum. They have Shazam, who used to be on Cloud9, obviously. They have Roka, who was on Elevate last season. So I think that team they're a newer roster, but I think they have a lot to prove here.
And this is their first LAN, correct?
Yes.
Of this roster, at least. Okay. So safe to say you think Na'Vi, Virtus Pro, but in what order will they come out?
I would give it to Na'Vi as the top one and Virtus Pro as number 2.
Okay, and then let's do Group B first for you. Who's coming out?
I mean, for this one, it's the easiest, I think, to predict because it has to be Na'Vi in first place. Now, beyond that, Virtus Pro's in a little bit of a slump in terms of where we normally think of them in the world. But saying that, this isn't the kind of group that really it's likely they'll get upset by. Because first of all, remember, it's double of them and best of 3. So it's really, you got to win 2 maps against them to get through a series. So even if they lose a map, they're probably not going to lose the series. And then you look at the NA teams they're playing, and actually the better NA teams are in Group A. So they're the ones going to be competing there maybe against Valve Sports, Cloud9. Over in this group, Tempo Storm's a really new lineup. We haven't seen them play at all. And okay, Luminosity, they have some experience, but all their European experience has just been them losing. So I don't think this is the right group for those underdogs to get the upset. So again, let's set the stage there. 2 elite-level European teams. If there is an upset, it'll be a major result in itself. But I'm expecting it must be Na'Vi first, Virtus Pro taken second.
Okay, and then let's go back and let's talk your predictions for Group A.
I mean, you'd obviously have to say it should be Cloud9 in first place. That should be the logical first place for them, especially even as I'm thinking the team that will come out second is Mousesport.
Versus Roka, who's going to come out on top. Lex with less HP, and he gets it with only 4 HP.
All right, folks, welcome back. We're about to get this first match started again. Na'Vi, perennial European powerhouse, taking on Luminosity with a really, really brand new roster. 2 Euros, which is great, but maybe not enough time to really kind of get their knowledge out of them and into the North American guys, so to speak.
I like the way you said that.
I know you did.
You can see, can they get some of that NA influence out of the team and enough European in to have a chance here? All that matters, Scott, is whoever wins, Europe wins, mate. So,
It's true. Europe wins no matter
so
what.
do 2
right?
European wins, or do 5 Europeans win? That's the real question, Hiko.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Majority, 3. We win.
The Americans.
It's still North American team.
Absolutely the Americans.
So we talked a little bit off camera and even during rehearsals, and I find it's not intriguing, but like I brought up the point that all 5 of the North American teams that are here right now will travel to Birmingham next week to try to book a ticket to this major, right? This biggest Counter-Strike tournament ever in Germany. Your team's going to be there as well. Obviously, there's other teams that aren't here. So, like, what's better? Is it better to be here and play in your competition to prep for next week, or at home, like is Semphis writing notes, taking, documenting stuff?
So in my opinion, the teams that actually aren't going, which are my team, Elevate, and I don't remember the last one. Definitely all the players I would hope are at home, studying all the American players. Like this is definitely to date, probably the biggest rivalry in terms of American team we've ever had. Like for 8 teams to try to qualify for 2 spots, we've never had to go through that for any American team. It's always been like Cloud9 Cloud9, Abba Power back in the day. Now it's like Liquid gets to some events. Elevate went to like the last Gfinity. So the competition in the US is a lot harder than it ever was.
Which is great.
Yeah, exactly. So you would expect that, especially if an American team loses early here, everybody is watching everybody. Everybody is trying to learn as much as they can, trying to counter-strat them for, next week, which is the most important qualifier probably ever in American CSGO.
That's why you're here, right? You didn't care to analyze. You just wanted to be close to the action so you could take your own notes.
I mean, spin that the other way, though, Scoots. Think about it this way. Yeah, you give something up by playing. Like the teams who aren't here, they can be watching your demos, etc. But if you want to talk about getting practice for that offline qualifier, even if you're in Group B, hey, you get to play Na'Vi, maybe you get to play Virtus Pro in a best of 3s. So in theory, you might find out your strats work better than you do in the practices that the other guy's going to be having. So I think it can go both ways.
And I know we were giving grief to Helium off air about his fantasy team.
Yeah.
I pointed out that why did you pick Sean Garris? I mean, for a
I
fan,
figured it out, though.
And he told me. He basically said that Stunna manhandled him.
No, it's because he misunderstood the term. It said, let's play fantasy CSGO. And he was like, well, in a fantasy world, Sean Garris would be an amazing fragger, wouldn't he? What, guys? What's wrong?
Oh, that's it.
Okay.
We're done.
So.
Well, it was thank you, CEVO, thank you, MLG. Duncan and I will be leaving. So that's kind of, I think he got a little pressure to put all the Cloud9 guys on there. Because in the fantasy system, Sean does a lot of things that don't show up on a stats sheet. So
Not too useful for fantasy then.
No, yeah. So that's
Purely statistical arena.
But,
okay.
Stunna being the next Marine, I think he basically said, you're putting these guys on your fantasy team or I'm kicking your butt. So, again, let's...
The American way.
Yeah, you guys saw during the commercial break, there is a Twitter it's predictions going. So definitely tweet us who you think's going to win. We'll keep track of that the whole time.
Scoots, it said who do you want to win?
Not who's going to win, who do you want to win?
Yeah, that's a very key difference, right?
That is an interesting way to put it.
You know how to do, fans. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're a traitor, of course.
That'll pop up on air. So let's talk about... Oh, here it comes. Never mind. Let's talk about this. So where are we sitting at? 41. Whoa.
See the distinction.
This is the want.
There you go.
This is the want.
But with that said, Scott, even then, a lot of NA fans are like, I still want Na'Vi to crush these NA teams. So a lot of smart people in the crowd.
So there you go, 41 and 59. So yeah, and again, I think that's a key word: want versus who will win, right?
Yeah.
In predictions. Let's go back a little bit to what we were just talking about with you guys and this North America team. If you go way back, 1.6 days, we always had 1 or 2, then maybe 4 teams that could kind of compete with each other. You had the 3Ds, you had the complexities, then you had maybe a little EG, a little bit of rival, a couple other teams, depending on the time of year, depending on what year.
Right.
Now it seems like, again, you talked about an 8-team offline follow. How many of those teams, in your pro North American opinion, really have a shot to win one of those 2 spots, though?
Right now, I would think Cloud9 is probably like the fan favorite. I think everyone considers them as the best team, and they probably have the easiest shot to actually make the actual tournament. As far as the second team, like everybody is in question right now. Nobody knows how anyone really plays. Like you have Liquid and CLG are probably considered like the second best team. Like they're both in contention for it. Liquid has historically known to be a little bit less of a skilled on LAN than they are online. And CLG, now that they haven't been able to playing with their 5th because FNS has had visa issues. So who knows who CLG will even use, if it will be FNS or not. And as we said earlier, that is their in-game leader, and a lot is dictated by them. And then you have teams like Nylum, my team, teams like Luminosity, teams like Elevate, who do have newer rosters. Roster changes happened recently, so nobody knows what's going to happen. I think the only team that people really think has a for sure shot is Cloud9.
Cloud9. Okay, so kind of an open field, which again we're not used to over here. This many potential teams like doing well, so it's nice to see, and hopefully it grows to 12 teams and 16 teams. So let's take a look at it. We did a kind of a matchup of 2 top players for these teams, and we picked the Oppers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the matchup. I think Peter and Guardian is what we're going to take a peek at here. Oh, you already showed it. I see. I was too busy talking to you guys. So you guys enjoyed all that. Hope it was great.
I mean, when we say a matchup there, it's a matchup of the roles, but let's be clear, this is like a David and Goliath type situation. Guardian's probably the best AWPer in the world. I think even in terms of players, he's probably top 5 at the moment. He's been in incredible form. Peter, obviously, listen, at MLG X Games, we all remember that epic result where his 20 AWP frags was part of this Dust 2 upset win over LDLC, now Envious at the time. That was a huge upset win for them, but since then we haven't seen so much from him in the big lands, especially against European teams. So to go up against someone like Guardian, it feels unlikely he's going to be able to get the better of him in this picture scenario, because Guardian is just so very good. But it's a way to test the mettle, because when you see lower level players playing each other, it's hard to know how good they really would be on the global scale. Now you're going against the best at your role. So show us what you're all about, because you don't win duels versus Guardian.
Yeah, I mean, PTR definitely has a different style of opping than Guardian does as well. Guardian is definitely that really passive opper. He doesn't go for those like really insane flick shots. He holds his angle. He plays very, very standard, very slow. PDR, on the other hand, he does have his slow rounds, but he also is able to throw in some rounds where he'll play like the Michael kind of play, where he'll push really fast, he'll get a pick, and he'll try to fall back. So I think if he can actually get himself those early picks and get his team the roundup or the man-up advantages, then I think they might have a chance.
Okay. Well, they've started the vetoes on us, so let's take a look here. And these are going to be live vetoes, folks, so we're going to kind of walk through live. Why don't you kind of walk us through this, Duncan? Let's see where we're at so far.
I mean, an obvious map, if you're the Luminosity guys, you do not want to be playing here. It's got to be Train immediately. Na'Vi is known as one of the best on Train. It's a map that a lot of teams aren't going to have much experience on LAN. Like, I'm assuming Luminosity's never played it with this lineup. Therefore, immediately you want to stay away from that. In terms of strong maps for Na'Vi, we're looking at like the classics, Mirage. They're very good on Overpass. They're like a really strong team there. And I think the third one for them at the moment is probably Inferno, actually. Like historically, Dust 2 used to be a great map for them. They seem to actually, they've been banning it recently. And then Cobble's one where they say they're really good on it, but I've only really seen them play elite teams on it. So I don't know if it's one that they would just go away from themselves because it's one like that. What are you feeling for Luminosity? What should their strong maps be?
I really don't think Luminosity even has a chance in this veto. Like,
it's hard.
In Navi's best world, if they end up playing like an Overpass or Mirage, I would think Luminosity has no chance. Like,
yeah.
The problem with Luminosity right now is they need to try to play like a Dust 2, a Cash, an Inferno.
Yeah.
But even on like an Inferno map, I still would have to give it to Navi. So if Navi is thinking, smartly, they're going to think, okay, American team, they only play Dust 2, they only know Inferno, they only know Cash. Drop those instantly, force them to play an Overpass or Mirage, which Americans are historically known for being worse on, and just walk away with this.
I mean, if I was forced to Luminosity, you have a choice. You could just pick any map. There's no ban V. I would say go for Cash. It's not historically known as the greatest map for the guys on Navi's side because they're so good at some of the others. The problem is, usually, if you're the underdog team, that's banned out by actually Navi there. Usually, that's probably why they're taking account of that, because they don't mind any other map they play. But usually, you want to play Dust 2 if you're the underdog team. Like this team before when Peter was on, you want to try and get the upset.
Yep.
The problem is, even though at the moment Navi's not playing against the elite teams, Navi is one of the best all-time teams on Dust 2. And Guardian particularly, you could make like a 1-hour movie of his highlights just on that map alone. So Mirage, another obvious one. That was Navi's original specialist map, I'm expecting from Navi here, maybe something like, maybe they just take Dust 2 out of the way. Just take it out now and then look at the maps you've got left. We don't mind where you play right now. So if I'm them, maybe I just take Dust 2 out here, because you definitely, Navi's not going to take out Overpass, I feel like. No chance of that. Cobble, they're probably going to leave in. So I think they're going to kind of leave it on Luminosity. Hey, which do you want to play? Do you want to take out Train? Surely you're going to. And then we'll take out whichever one we don't want out of Cobble. There we go. So they pick Overpass. It makes sense.
Yeah, not a surprise.
So now which should Luminosity pick, do you think?
Absolutely Dust 2, like without a doubt in my mind. Dust 2, as we said, is definitely the more, you can play a little bit looser, and there it is.
The problem here is, though, like we said, look at the maps we've actually got here. So we've got Overpass, Dust 2, and then third map is Cobble. Now, those are, at the moment, okay, I wouldn't say Dust 2 is one of the strongest maps for Navi, but they're going to be a favorite even on the one map that they didn't have a choice in choosing. Overpass and Cobble, they are overwhelming favorites.
Yes.
So if you can even get to a third one, it's going to be very, very difficult for Luminosity to win this. Then again, we haven't seen this Luminosity lineup play some of these maps, so maybe they can throw in a new wrinkle there, because Na'Vi is a very tactical team. That's another thing. They're a team you can scout. They're going to do similar strategies. With that said, there's always that little bit of subtlety there where they'll change it up a little bit, and it's going to be very hard, especially the in-game leaders were saying before, I don't have so much experience, I'm letting PTR do it sometimes. If you're not experienced, it's going to be hard to read Na'Vi.
Yep.
All right, well, now we know, so I think I know the answer to the predictions,
Okay.
but go ahead and give me predictions.
I give it to Na'Vi 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0, but I don't like to just make it sound like the same thing, so I'll go 2-0, humiliating, kind of soul-crushing victory that makes other people like question whether this teammate should even be in this team. Like, what am I doing in my life? Like, my mom said I should have gone to that, finishing school, maybe become a concierge one day if I keep my head. Oh yeah, the rest of the tournament we played. So 2-0 to Na'Vi.
So a life-altering, crushing loss is what you're calling for
Fingers
somebody?
crossed.
Oh boy.
Get him, Guardian. Get him. Mate, when they were doing that little stare-off before the captains, okay, Guardian was looking over, like, the whole time when Lex was talking, as if, like, he was like, you're a manager, right? I think I know you. Team Liquid. And he's like, no, Luminosity. He's like, good, I will see you now. It's like, let's go off. He's like, that's the end of when he's going to have to see him in the tournament. So it's like, have a nice life.
All right, now the other match that we're not going to actually talk too much about, but it's going to happen on the other stream, VP Tempo Storm. Just really quick thoughts on that.
The problem with this matchup is Tempo Storm, there's nothing I can even tell you that I'd give them a chance in this match. Like, even the players they've got in who are the more known ones, Shazam, his form has been much improved since Cloud9, but that's because it was so bad when he was in Cloud9. Probably the only player I could point to out of this one, look at as maybe like a potential star breakout performance is Roka. I actually think he's a very good, very underrated player. When he was in Elevate, he was definitely like one of the bright spots there. Very aggressive, very aim-reliant player. Maybe he can take it to Virtus Pro. Problem is they have got a lot of aim talent themselves. They've got Bjarly, they've got Snacks, they've got Pasha with the Orb. So NA teams tend not to match up so well with the Virtus Pro guys, and so I think it's going to be very, very tough for Tempo. I think that match alone is probably the biggest disparity, I think, between all the teams here.
I would actually say Automatic is definitely a player to watch out for. He is an old teammate of mine. I know,
Except when it's in your lineup, right? Then you were like, I'd like to watch out for you on another team, mate. Get away from me. I need to win. I used to be on Cloud9.
I mean, if you look at how they played against Cloud9, that one land, he definitely was like the star player of his team. He definitely improved a lot. He definitely proved a lot of people wrong that that team is like nothing. They beat Cloud9. Obviously now he's on Tempo Storm, and I guess you can say he's historically known for being better on LAN. So if he does go off with him and Shazam going together, I think they might be able to do some work against Virtus Pro, though.
For people who haven't seen Shazam since Cloud9, and obviously if that was the only place they saw him, he didn't perform very well. He had his problems, especially against European teams. Is he a different player now? Is he still the AWP all the time guy? Is he still really aggressive with peaks? What's he like now?
He definitely opts as much as he can. I think like the team will save to get him an op if he doesn't have an op. And he definitely plays a lot more aggressive than he used to. He's not playing the little, Sean is controlling him, you need to do this every round. He has the freedom to do whatever he wants. Okay. So,
which is when he was at his best, right? When he was in the old denial.
When he beat my team on LAN. So definitely he's somebody to watch out for. Especially if someone like Pasha is not, not having the greatest day, or even Neo, and they're able to just get those early picks again. I think that's the only chance that these American teams have. They need to get the early picks. They need to take the man-up advantages and win the closing rounds.
And I think actually, if you are Shazam, first of all, there's no pressure in as much as no one expects you to beat Virtus Pro, not in a best of 3. But with that said, because you're only known for your problems you had in Cloud9, and people are like, he can never be a top pro. This is a great chance to prove yourself, actually. There's no pressure to win, so just play your game. Show what you've got. And hey, maybe if you can have one crazy map, it starts to redeem that reputation a bit. Because I know one of the reasons he's on this team is because, unfortunately, the Cloud9 scenario went so badly, a lot of the other teams kind of wrote him off, so he couldn't get into the other top teams. So he's someone himself where maybe not in this team, but one day future, he wants to be a top player again.
All right, let's... I know that we just saw some roster stuff, so they're going to keep showing us different, player photos. Obviously, there's Lex again, not the manager of the team.
Okay. I'll tell Guardian later.
Yeah, let me shift gears a little bit. Obviously, we're waiting for the players to be ready to start the match, so, those at home, like, they're not waiting on us, we're waiting on them. So, while I have you both here, totally unrelated to this tournament because they're not here anymore, because Envious didn't come, but I really want to get your guys' opinions on this French shuffle again, and your thoughts on how it turned out for each team.
In French, delicieux, delicious, Scott.
Oh, nice.
It's tantalizing. I want to see what it's like. Here's the thing. When Kenny S was in God mode, end of last year, early part of this year, it was a tragedy because he was playing some of the best CS ever, but his team, it wasn't good enough. They couldn't win big championships. Even if they got to a final, they were going to lose to some elite level team. Now, he's not playing as well, but he doesn't have to in this team. If he just plays to a good level, which we know he can do, he's got the pieces around him now where now we could see Kenny S in a major final, making top fours at huge tournaments regularly. And I don't know if they'll be as good as the old Envious, the one that was like vying for top spot in the world, but I think this can definitely be like a top 5, top 4 level team. There's a lot of upside to this team, I think.
I mean, something also to mention, though, is that they've never really had that dedicated upper. Like, you sometimes you see Happy Ops, sometimes you see Kiyoshima, Shocks you saw sometimes.
Smiths.
Yeah, exactly. Smiths, definitely Smiths. So now they have this guy who should have an op every single round, and if they don't, I mean, Kenny S definitely doesn't have terrible rifles, but they need to go out of their way to give him an op. So it's a different dynamic than they're used to, and I think with Apex as well, definitely like a top team to be careful.
And that really is the big question mark. Even with Kenny S not being a great spawn, we kind of know what we're going to get. We know roughly if you put him in these spots what sort of kills he'll get. Apex is the question mark because he's been so bad the last few months within Titan that we know his talent level. And here's the interesting thing. He was at his best in his whole career when he played for a team called LDLC, which was Happy, his in-game leader, last ESL 1 Cologne, so August of last year. That was the last time he played great. So he's going back under the same in-game leader. Maybe that guy knows how to use him better, where to put him so he's comfortable. People are hoping maybe this can be a revitalized Apex.
And we just saw Devil Walk there, which again, really interesting story. He ends up analyzing the last tournament, but rooming with Lex. Yeah. And they hit it off. He hangs out with the team all week.
Platonic though, entirely.
Very platonic, just broing out, so to speak. And you know, Devil Walk didn't want to retire. He definitely has that, much like you, he wants to be a player still. And then they get rid of their 5th. And they reach out to him like, hey, by the way, you know, we know you want to keep playing. You want to move? You want to come to Toronto? And he did. So, I mean, again, we don't know how well they're going to do yet, but I think that's awesome that, A, he's back in a player's seat. And again, we've got another North American team with more European influence.
And actually what's funny is that's exactly the sort of play you want. Like, yeah, in a dream world, you'd want to get your roll off and Kenny S into an NA team. It's not going to happen, though, because they're going to play in European teams. So actually, one of the players I always said that they could get to improve North American CS would be someone who's like a support player for the really classic Swedish team. So a Fifth Flower and a Devil Walk, these sorts of people, you know.
Gotcha. All right, folks, well, here you go. This is our trigger. The map is starting. Helium, Launders, take it away.
Thank you guys, great work. And we're gonna see Overpass first here, already into the pistol round right now. Luminosity starting off on that T side. It looks like they're gonna have a look towards B. You can see them splitting up already though. Flamey peeking down Monster, gonna find the first shot. Pit though, with 2 entries just like that. Flamey is second for his as well. Now a third. It's just a battle of Pit and Flamey into a 2-on-2.
Yeah, it's quickly come down to a 2v2. They have the site, they got a smoke. They're going to try to plant the bomb, and C's can't do anything about it. Now we have one man, a left alone Guardian, pushing into the site, and he's coming up close to the planter, but will he get some shots off? No, looks like he'll have some adversity, and he's going to fall off to the pit. C's pulls down one now, Peter left in a 1v2.
Seized quite low. Guardian, though, still basically full at 76. He's going to be spotted. He lights Peter up down to 20, and Seized will finish it off. So a nice 3K for Flamey to start things off, getting that first kill on the round. Seized finishing it there. They will defuse.
Now we can see the tempo that Luminosity is trying to bring right out the gate to Overpass. They move with a fast strat, splitting 2 and 3 out, Monster and Long B. And Short, excuse me, and now they're going to be on the back foot a little bit. They did get the bomb down, and so they have the option to Glock save, and that's going to mean that they're going to be buying on the third. Now, Na'Vi have responded by getting 2 M4s, and that means they might be anticipating a buy, which they're not seeing. So these Thomases, you know, they're not going to get the kill reward that they really could have.
Well, it's getting quite popular. It's after that bomb plant, you just have one person sacrifice for the team, and you throw an AK onto somebody. You make an early raid boss with the rifle. So rifles in response to that, perhaps? We'll see. Zeus, though, in a battle here in construction. We'll get a double, bringing both Devil and Pit to the ground. Peter, though, with that P250, moving in to the site. Zeus there to greet him. Seized as well, and the spray down from Zeus. Actually, Anger with the TK.
Yeah, a little bit of a misstep there, but again, Luminosity didn't invest much money into that round, and here we're definitely going to see some sort of buy-up, though. It'll be light for a couple of players. We only have 36 on Lex and Anger, and yeah, that's going to mean Galils. Now, I actually don't know if this is the right decision. Like, you could have Tech9. I'm always an advocate for a Tech9 over Galil. You can get full nades with it, but overall, they've got 4 smokes. That's definitely more than enough to win a round on T side, and yeah, we're going to have an early first rifle round here on Overpass.
Yeah, a little bit more limited on nades, though, because it wasn't a full Glock save. They did go P250s. I think there was a flash and a Tech 9 in the mix up there as well, and I think only netting, what, 1 frag there? Let's see, Anger, though, trying to get out, but still Flamey on the MP9 will take him down, so that's 1 for 1, and Zeus just terrorizing them from that sandbags position. Lex finally brings them in, but moving around the column, it's seized, and it's all over for Luminosity on their first rifle, so right back to square one.
Yeah, that's a quick 3-0 so far for Na'Vi, who have a lot of money across the board. They aren't losing a lot of players each round. Even on those ecos, it does add up, and you have to take them into account. Now, it's going to be Luminosity on a full save here. It's $2,000 a piece for pretty much all of them. They've got to rethink their strategies. They're going fast B pretty much every single round, and I wonder what the thought process is. They're not able to get into the site, and they got the bomb down once, but there wasn't a lot of success.
I feel going there, you know, that many times in a row, you go there on your first rifle, and you're like, all right, we've got the information, we know where they're playing, but they still just were not able to deal with Zeus and then C's coming in from the window very quickly. So now we'll see them spread out a little bit more, moving up towards those bathrooms to A, and it looks like Edward is the man on point here, and Zeus is already behind them. He loves to control that stair connector, and he will find one and also a ton of information for his troubles. And Edward may be a little too aggressive here.
Yeah, they're trading 1 for 1, and Flamey's actually already in a rotator spot. I mean, they pretty much know what's going on at A. There's 2 players inside the bathrooms, and they're getting picked off one by one. I mean, Pith is making his way up long, but he's going to get shut down immediately as well, and that leaves Anger in a 1-on-3. He does have 2 frags on the board, and he's looking for a third, but can't find it. Na'Vi up to 4 rounds now. They've got $5,000 apiece, though. This is going to be their biggest buy so far.
We expect the op on Guardian. He got 2 kills there with the M4A1S, and there it goes. Drops it to Zeus. And he goes for the AWP, and also Peter picking up 1 as well. So maybe a long battle, hard to really tell where, because Oppers will just go anywhere, even based on spawn here and overpass, whether toward Monster Long or aggressive up towards the bathrooms. Yeah,
now one thing that Luminosity have talked about a lot in the past, I did some interviews, one with Devil Walk, and they mentioned, you know, working up, splitting up into some sort of default, gaining some map control, which is so valuable on overpass, and then turning that into a strategy. But look, we have a 3-stack over towards Long. They're looking to take full control of it, and we have 2 players from LG postured up towards it as well. And Flash might go over. Anger's going to take a peek. Is he going to find a fight? He knows one's at tree, and might look to fall off here. Doesn't have much support. Na'Vi really want them to come.
Yeah, they want to bait into this. They got 3 people here, 2 rifles. I can only assume Guardian, yeah, he's hanging further back there by the flowers. Just looking for a shot, but Peter finds it first. That's the first kill on the round, and he brings down C's. Now we can see going up into the short bathroom, there's a 1-for-1 trade, so the refrag comes out. Very, very good for the terrorist. But now Guardian doing what he does, gets the shot. He will have a long fallback, but no one chasing him, and also Edward still holding that long for him.
Yeah, now Devil Walk is actually lurking into B. This is such a huge play because he has the site now. They have 40 seconds left. They can rotate the bomb here, but they've got to act quickly. They can't take this for granted. Na'Vi were set up really heavily towards Long, and even though they traded 2 players there, LG assume that there's going to be at least 1 player on the site, and they would be wrong, but he's going to catch the rotator. Guardian goes down, and that could be a round for them.
Still plenty of time to get here as well. 22 seconds now. Devil Walk going to smoke off those stairs to try to slow down the rotation here at the CTs. Was that a flash or a smoke that missed? Trying to go up to it was a smoke that did miss, but doesn't look like it'll matter. They found Edward anyway. 1-on-1, however. Zeus hanging out at Graffiti. He'll push forward now. And where is Pitt? Did he move off towards construction, it looks like? Yeah, up on the sandbags. And he'll get him from the side. So there it is. On the board, on the T side is Luminosity.
1 round on the board for Luminosity. Now, this is overpass. It's a tough map for both sides. And that's going to mean that Luminosity do have a significantly higher quota than they might have once had on overpass. On this T side, they're going to need at least 6 rounds. I mean, I'm thinking that they're going to want 9. And with that being said, they have come off to a good start. On their first opportunity to have a full buy, they won the round, and they did it by splitting up. They got that information from Devil Walk, made a key play getting into B by himself. It was pretty brave, but it ended up working out. And now they're going to look to walk in along B kind of right off the bat here. Flamey's going to have pressure put on him.
Anger trying to get that entry. He actually moves forward, and Lex will find Flamey who's playing up barrel. Zeus, who's giving him so much trouble from sandbags. He's going to bring down 2. And he will reload as he is an A1S user. Aren't we all?
Yeah, now the smoke is down on Cap. Peter's up by the bomb, but he's going to go down. And now it seems like, I don't know if you noticed this, like players are getting picked off. Even on this, what should have been an explosive B take, we had players kind of trickling into the site, and a couple people getting sprayed down, but no trade coming out. And even when Cat was smoked, the bomb wasn't attempted to be planted, and so it seems like once they don't get that entry, or
well, they did. Get the
yeah,
entry.
that's true. Yeah, like
they
to
just
get that
didn't
entry.
push anyone's sandbags, and Zeus has just been obliterating from there. I don't know if Na'Vi is throwing that smoke from CT that blocks off that shorter drain, so maybe they're scared to try to work into construction so that it can split through sandbags.
Yeah.
But they really need to, because that's not the first time we've seen Zeus just spray everybody down from that position.
I think
multiple 2Ks.
You know, opening picks are the most valuable picks of a round. And for them to be able to know that the right call was to get into B, walk in, take a fight, and then win that fight, that should be a round on the board. But if we look at how many players are alive right now, Na'Vi have got all 4. Flamey was the only one to go down to that entry, and they couldn't get any more presence on the site apart from that. Now there's going to be 10 seconds left. Devil Walk has an AK, and if he dies after the time, it's going to be bad for them. But here we have the only player on the site, Guardian, whoa, with a huge flick to take him down, and that's another round on the board. Now, that's a 5th in total. Luminosity have 1, and if we look at the economy of Luminosity, it's in shambles.
It could be worse, right? Guardian, obviously, you know, natural-born killer. He's not actually MBK, but he's going to kill that person. But if he actually, you know, Guardian just like, whatever, you can kill me, then they know exactly where Devil Walk is, and 3 players were there. They could have killed him after time.
Yeah, it could have been worse. That's true. Now, yeah, Na'Vi have 5 rounds. It's 5-1. Luminosity are back on a save. That was one of their most important rounds to win, and they couldn't do it. It's going to be an uphill battle from here, and we might even have to see a double save because of that loss.
And what is Flamey's opping? He's like 4th in line, isn't he? It's generally Guardian, then Edward, then I guess one or the C's even. It's like Zeus is the one who doesn't pick it up. But here we go, Flamey trying to strut his stuff. It will just be against the pistols. Guardian locking it down. Actually, both ops in the A site too. Flamey watching the bathrooms, Guardian out towards long, and there's Flamey shot. He'll bring down Lex, and Edward moving forward as well. We got 3, actually 4 heavy towards the A site right here for Na'Vi.
I think a key problem that we're seeing being pervasive throughout these rounds is a lack of explosiveness. Like, there is Luminosity able to get 1 really nice round.
What is this?
have a good idea of what strategy to execute, but when it comes time to execute, like you're walking B, you get spotted, you explode, right? Point blank, period. There's nothing else you can do. You don't have map control at A site or outside of party. You really don't know what's going on anywhere else, and you're committing to getting seen and then exploding. And even on that eco there, they were kind of spread out, trying to work picks, probably talking about what to do in upcoming rounds, but don't have that explosiveness and aren't trading that well. I think if they can meet the strategy with the explosiveness, they're going to have much of a better time moving forward.
Devil Walk will be in those stairs. The rest of his 4 allies moving up towards the bathrooms, trying to bring down these players through the smoke. Actually do quite a bit of damage, but sees, finding 2 kills, 1 fadeaway grenade. And the rest of his team coming in. Devil Walk now spotted, last man here for Luminosity. And, well, things have looked poor when Luminosity have just, you know, kind of tried to death ball, like work into A side or go fast into A. But we did see, you know, a glimmer of something that could work when they did have that default round.
Yeah, absolutely.
They played it very well. So I think they just need to get that back to that position again. They did just double save, probably in an effort to get Peter this op back.
Yeah, once again, another key round right here where Luminosity have all the guns they want. This is the equipment value that you need to win a round. Peter's got an op. They really have no excuse. And now that it's 7-1, if they don't win this round here, they're going to lose this half tremendously. I mean, it's going to be a really bad half overall. Even though they've got that loss bonus, if it goes back into a 1-1 type of deal and they get lucky on 1 round, it's almost going to count against them overall. So now we have a sort of default where Pyth is here in the stairs working solo, but Peter found a pick.
Yeah, through Monster. And then Edward, who had pushed in, it was in a cheeky spot, I guess we'll say, since the Europeans have showed up to the LAN. He gets a kill over in the connector. However, man advantage to Luminosity. Lex and Devil Walk in the red. They're barely holding on. They could stub their toe.
Yeah, but Na'Vi don't know this necessarily, and they really don't know exactly which players are hurt, and the fact that they have sheer numbers over them right now could really work in their favor if they manage to use these players properly. Now, they still have that op, but they've only got 45 seconds left. They've got to make a decision on what site to go to, and it looks like they're congregating towards B. Now, Zeus is the man over at Cat, going to hold control of the site, and if they decide to plant, he's probably going to sit there and wait for his teammates.
Edward able to beat him there to the trigger. With 5 HP, he gets that kill onto Lex, and that'll even it back up to the 3-on-3. Lex also was very, very low, so it was 1 shot either way. Zeus, though, in such a fantastic spot. Peter saw him, though, and he hits the shot. Man advantage now to Luminosity. Bomb is down and ticking away. Guardian going in on this retake. He'll bring down Anger. He's got an ally up above, and that's Edward raining down those bullets. It seems like they've got an inkling of where Peter is going to try to come from. Peter, I think did he take that? But just missed it. He's going to try to walk through the smoke, spamming up that bomb. He's right on target, just no one was on it yet. So Edward going to try to stick it. Peter can still do this, but no! He must have been spotted out of the smoke, and Guardian finds him.
Now, that was a situation where Luminosity had hurt players, but then they all died to peeking right off the bat. Like, no one should die to your upper B guy when you have the bomb down, just because you're sitting at the pillar, excuse me. And they took that fight. They lost it, and that's why they're out of this right now. So that's a round lost for Luminosity. I would say it's maybe the most important round of the half so far, and they couldn't pull it off. But again, they had the right idea. They got into the B site off of great information. They didn't have to brute force their way in, but couldn't follow up with good afterplant spots.
Let's see how this brute force aggression goes. Once again, trying out towards B. Only one player going to get through, though. Lex. Kind of abandoned, but maybe rightly so. It would have been tough to go through that nade Molotov combo that we see so often these days, and Flamey now spraying it down. Can he find that third kill as well? Running out of ammunition. Spray not quite there.
Yeah, Zoo's going to be taking a peek off of Cat, and there are only 2 players alive. He does get dinked, but can fall off at this moment. Now it's Anger left in a 1v5 with the Deagle. Is going to look to make this round expensive. Finds a nice headshot, but gets taken down by C's, and that's Na'Vi, just displaying how much control they've had over this game so far. Like, even when they have stacked over towards A and Luminosity have had the great reads, they have no problem with their retakes. And the thing is that Na'Vi are a team right now that have almost no faults, right? Their after plants are great, their retakes are great, playing slow if they want to is a strength for them, playing quickly when they want to is always good. They have strong lurkers, great site holds, and that's scary. But at the same time, Luminosity are finding the right place to go at the right time.
Yeah, there's definitely some rounds that could have been Luminosities. Even still, that would only amount to like 2 or 3 rounds. Worth noting, I will say, before this rifle round kicks off, that Luminosity, this is one of their least played maps online in the NA region. Not that Overpass gets picked very often, but they've never played it on LAN. And to come here and with a new roster, not a lot of time to have prepared for things, and play up against one of the best Overpass teams that there are, obviously not really expected to win here on Overpass. But let's see if they can do it. This is the time to rally, try to get those 6 rounds as T-side, as difficult as it may be, because Navi's already up to 9.
Yeah, but look at this. Edward is actually pushing up towards long and is going to be working on a flank. Is anybody watching this? We have Peter. No, his eyes are looking away, and that's going to allow Edward to get all the way around. And if no one is watching this, is going to be able to secure the round just by securing his presence. Whoa, Guardian hits a very nice shot, takes out Lex. He's going to see the head of Edward right now, and that's it. Another player goes down. Wow, Luminosity are fighting for map control.
Yeah, well, they've lost it. Edward was waiting for more players to come out.
That was very eloquent.
Thank you. Finally took the shot, brought him down, so it's a 5-on-2. And it seemed like Navi not going to lose from this position. Pit and Devil Walk, there it is, Pit. Again, Lex in the interview saying this is the player to watch out for. He shows up with his confidence.
Yeah.
He will be brought down, though, by Edward. And 3 points for C's.
So what do we see? We see Luminosity, when they split up into the default, it works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't work,
close, at least when they do the default.
Somewhat. I mean, that round was a complete disaster, right? Like they worked into a default, they forgot about long, and then Edward pushed it. Now, Navi are, when they are taking these fights, Luminosity are winning them sometimes. The only time that they ever come out ahead in the mid to late round is when they trade 1 for 1 at least, versus wherever they're trying to work towards. So if they're going to split up in a default towards A, and they want to pay attention to long or pay attention to bathrooms, they need to speed up the clearing and take fights sooner than later.
So kind of a 2-1-2 split up default here for the terrace, if you want to call it that, 2 out towards the playground. Bomb kind of geared towards A since it is down there as well. Pith chilling in the stairs. Devil Walk and Peter trying to work a pick there through Monster. Flamey, though, just sitting at the barrel, is not really giving him an inch. And actually, where is... Okay, Zeus is in such a good spot. He's pushed forward. He's all the way in construction. Quick Flamey. So they've got control of a central portion of the map. That'll make that CT flank even faster. We've already seen a couple Luminosity members shot in the back, but here's the reversal.
And here we have the late round B hit again. Is this going to be telegraphed? We have 3 players in the site this time. Absolutely no presence towards A. Not a single anchor anywhere else on the site, or on the map, excuse me. And I feel like it's just going to be punished heavily for this. And yeah, Piff gets spotted. He's going to be pushing up into the site through Cat. Is going to look to take a fight. And we have players holding angles. That's Flamey. We got Zeus on the right here. This is a supreme crossfire they have going on, but Pit takes his head off immediately. Flamey's gonna look for the double spray, now goes down. Pit is finding a third kill. No, that's actually Peter. Now they have a sight. 2v3. Anger is gonna be looking to pick up the rotator kill. Is gonna throw flash, fall off, and now it's after plan for Na'Vi.
Edward, though, coming down those stairs, does find Lex 2-on-2. Guardian probably should be dead. He peeked that corner with the grenade out, but still he is here. 2 HP. Op shot onto Anger. And now Peter is going to have to hit 2. Maybe the call is there, but no, Guardian is too quick. And the bomb to be defused. Another close round for Luminosity, but Na'Vi already going further into the double
I feel like
digits.
Guardian's got 100% accuracy this game. Every time we've seen him look at someone, look away, he always flicks back and hits them. And every single time in this after plan, it's always somebody caught out of position in a spot where they thought they could take a fight. And that's been their biggest downfall. Another situation where they get into a site with favorable trades and are unable to win it. They even had to kill 3 players in the site to get the bomb down, came away with more players remaining than were on Na'Vi, and they still lost.
And Na'Vi played so well as a unit. If we look at the kills, 13 on Seized and Zeus, 11 on Edward and Guardian, and 10 on Flamey. They're all neck and neck. Only 3 kills separating anybody, and there's just not any kills really happening for Luminosity. Pit's up there at 8, and Devil Walk's down there at 2, so it's been tough. And once again, Guardian just going to hit that shot onto Anger. So now Luminosity already down 10 rounds, and now starting out here a man down. But look at that, Pit and Devil Walk both picking up a frag.
EU Kryptonite is EU.
Yeah, there you go. It's the only thing to counter it.
Now Flamey's going to have some pressure put on him. Lex takes his face off, and they're going to have the site now seized. Is going to be in a passive position looking to defend this, but oh, he finds another, and that's a second headshot on the round for him. If they lose this round, I don't even know what to say. I'm going to get up and leave.
Yeah, me as well. LAN over.
LAN over.
Guardian's able to do this. He does miss a shot, misses another one there.
Oh.
As the jiggle peeking from Peter proves a little too strong, so Luminosity on the board. Maybe they can get 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Maybe if this was Overpass when it first came out, we'd be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you need like 6 or 7 rounds on T side now.
Maybe.
One
you know.
hell of a CT side if you're Luminosity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a great round. It did come down to some very nice shots being hit. Funnily enough, it's not even one of the rounds where I feel like they outplayed Na'Vi. Like some of the other rounds, they outplayed them and couldn't win those rounds. That round, they just hit entries, kind of brute force their way in, and did it. But results are results. If they can come away with 4 rounds in this half, we can look to the second half. But still, there are close 11-2s and there are not so close 11-2s, and it looks like Na'Vi are playing a whole lot stronger than they are right now. But it might change my opinion a little bit if they could seal up these last 2 rounds and make it look convincing.
Let's see what Edward is up to. He's in those bathrooms. He's kind of smoked off right now. Is he gonna? No, I think he is backing off, playing a bit safe. That will allow, though, a couple terrorists in there.
Yeah, so once again, we have LG taking bathrooms control, leaving long completely open, but Pyth is out here taking a pier into long, making sure no one can cross unless someone had crossed already. And I wonder, is that an op right here? That's Guardian, yeah. He's got an op angled onto it. So if he walks right into that crosshair, that's going to be bad news for him. And it looks like they might be gearing up to look to split A, but it's versus 3 players. Edward and Caesar still pushed up aggressively, not conceding any control.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult to clear out those angles with the 3 aggressive Na'Vi members. Lex is going to try to do it. Can he see maybe the leg? He tries to check. He thinks he's checked it. He still is able to get 1, but they're in the corner. Who was that? That was Edward who was there. Peter with almost, give it a millisecond more, and he could have had a 2 for 1, but will miss. And there it is. 4 surviving, only sees to fall, 12-2. At best, Luminosity gets 1 more round, but looking at their money, well, Anger will be broke as well as Peter.
Yeah, what Na'Vi are really understanding here is that the thing about Overpass is one of the worst places to defend a site from is from the site.
It's from site,
and
yeah.
so they're playing with aggressive smokes and playing 3 players pushed up the entire way through, even though they know there are 5 players really close by. And that's that confidence they have right now in doing it. And I think it's pretty much the ideal way they could be working the map as a team. And it's looking really good for them. Obviously, 12 rounds on the board. They more than met their quota. They're probably not feeling shaken at all. And here we have a push into
Molotovs, though.
Flamey is going to be taking down the first player. Seize is going to look down and spray another, but Zeus actually finds a nade kill, and that leaves Anger right now with an AK in a 1v5.
Yeah, Luminosity, they know, or Na'Vi rather, knows that Luminosity is coming. They've got those nades coming in as a response, Molotovs as well, and they just walk in and get blended there in the sandbags.
Yeah, blended I think is the word for it. They
and burnt.
Yeah, burnt, cooked, blended. That was easy for Na'Vi. They really didn't have much trouble whatsoever And you know, unfortunately, I hate to say it, it came down to fundamentals with Luminosity. I think if you asked them, they would say the same thing. Because in those after plan positions in some of those rounds, I think they were